is doing very well. So it has been some time since I made a Ramble video last, and I don't know what it is about today in particular, but I was like, it's happening right here, right now. So let's see, I'm trying to kind of organize the thoughts in my head as we go, but I think I want to talk mostly about just what I've been up to lately, some things kind of behind the scenes here, and otherwise we shall just kind of see how it goes. So, the first thing that comes to mind is, I believe most of you guys, well, maybe that's a little bit of an assertion on my part. I don't take for granted that everyone watches every video that I make, but I will say I am kind of in the midpoint of a career change, so from architecture now, kind of wanting to be more into photography and perhaps making videos professionally, but photography mostly. So I've been doing a couple of different jobs here and there, and my most recent one was working with another photographer in my area, and she's very, very good and shoots a lot of weddings, so I got to assist on that. And first off, all I can say is the weather was unbelievably hot. So it started off immediately, like once I got out of the car and into the parking lot, I was regretting wearing a long sleeve shirt, probably like 0.00001 seconds, feeling that. So this one was an Indian wedding, and it was just amazing, the detail that goes into just everything. Now, if you thought I was hot, both the bride and the groom, once we started doing outdoor photos, it was just like a pouring sweat. Like, the amount of clothing that they were wearing just did not lend itself to weather like that. But let me circle around to probably one of, let's just say somewhere where I fumbled. You guys are going to see what I'm talking about in just a second, but one of my responsibilities on a couple of different ones there. So I was mostly in charge of setting up the lights, going ahead to other areas where we would be, and just bringing our equipment there, and generally just kind of making sure that the gear that we needed was where we needed it. So I was also in charge of kind of just any additional tasks that our main photographer needed me to do. So one of them being, and I'm sure you guys are going to be very familiar with this, we like to kind of take the bride and the groom's outfits and take photos of them separately, just kind of neatly arranged in a way where it's visually pleasing, and it's kind of just, I guess what I would describe as sort of a still life, although it's not painting, so I don't know if that really counts still. So basically, this has been an incredibly long-winded way to say I was in charge of taking the bride's dress up to where we were shooting it, where we had a little area set up. So we had the shoes, we had the veil, and the jewelry, all of it was ready to go. So once I picked it up off the hanger, immediately I was just like, this feels like a weighted vest, basically. Guys, I am not joking when I say this dress was probably like 30 pounds. Like, I went to go, like, pick it up off the hanger. I was like gently at first, because I thought it would be delicate, and I was just like, I was like, oh, it's one of those. So then I was just like, is as I'm like walking it up the stairs. I don't know exactly what happened, but I guess in hindsight, at each step that I was taking, the hanger was flexing. And I think some of you guys know where this is going already. So I'm walking it up, I'm almost there, and all of a sudden the hanger just gives out, and it just breaks completely in my hand. So here's where I also saved the day. I guess, having a fumble and having a save in the end, you're down, you're up, and then it kind of evens out in the middle. And so I'm holding this dress like this, it breaks, and I'm like, bam, got it. Didn't hit the ground, thankfully. But I was like, whew. But it did work out in the end. Fortunately, they did have an extra hanger. So that one was plastic too. And did I just say like plastic? That one was plastic too. And I was a little bit more careful with that one. But who knew? I was so relieved though, because literally it happened in front of our photographer, our second photographer, like someone who was there, like the wedding planner, the videographer, or the videographer. Easy for me to say, right? I only do video and I can't even pronounce that correctly. So very, very lucky to have saved that one. The same shoot that we did with the groom went much better. Very, very smooth on that end. And basically everything came together quite well in the end. We started with their outfits, then we did their first look, and some other photos with the families, and just both of their families were gigantic. Like literally, I was talking to the groom, and he was like, "Yeah, my dad is like one of 9 kids. My uncle is like one, I forget all the examples that he gave me now, but just all people related to both him and the bride had like just an insane amount of siblings. So there were I think he said there were 275 guests, and 270 of them were family. And I was like, dude, I haven't been to a lot of weddings, but I know that's a lot. So eventually kind of things settled down once the guests started arriving, and I did bring my camera and everything, so I got to do a little shooting of my own. And the photos that I got, some of them are pretty good, some of them are not so good. But that's kind of just how it goes. That is why we take a lot of photos. I think I took several hundred, probably close to 1,000 photos. That's kind of just how it goes. And fortunately, just with how fast the cameras are, how quick they can write to the SD card, it gives you that confidence to just be I see a moment, bam, 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 just snapping these photos off. So other than that, I don't know, guys, I think a lot of you know that I like to kind of keep it real on this channel. I don't know why I said it like that, but just kind of talk about the things that I'm going through in a real way and not feel the need to sugarcoat it. But changing careers is kind of a hard thing. I'm still navigating and doing the best that I can with it. I'm trying to skate by part-time because it is difficult, and it's made me in some ways more committed to finding the right opportunities for me and continuing to work hard in establishing my portfolio. severely hold me back, and in some ways it still does, but I feel very proud to say that sometimes I notice that it's coming in. I'm just like, you know what, that's what I used to do. That's not what I do anymore. But it can be more difficult. It can be something that just kind of gets you, like, makes you spin out in your mind. And I think that's the reason that I haven't been recording as much as I used to. And it's not necessarily that I don't enjoy making videos, it's just lately I've gotten some ideas and I kind of try to work it and massage it into something that I think would be really good visually. And I think in that process, maybe sometimes I work too hard on trying to make the video, or the, excuse me, the aesthetic part of my videos. I put a little bit too much effort into them, rather than just being what I believe ASMR is supposed to be, just kind of this free-flowing and natural thing. And sometimes when I see videos, I actually just watched Rafi's new video that he posted a few days ago, and just the way that he moves around the microphone and the sounds and just how everything's very smooth. Sometimes I almost feel a little bit robotic trying to like analyze certain things. I'm like and this is coming from someone who's not very good at math, but it's almost like an equation for me. And when I'm in sort of that mode, I'm just like, you know what? Not that I've been recording videos forever, but I am experienced enough to just be like, you know what? When I am in that state of mind, whatever I make is not going to be good. I can't tell you guys how many videos that I've made where I just look back on it and I'm just like, you know what? This ain't it. This is not, like, I've talked about this before, so I'll keep it brief, but kind of the threshold to me releasing a video is something that I am proud to put out onto the channel. And if I don't feel that way about a video, about an idea, or even when I'm like reviewing footage that I've shot, like some videos don't even make it to the edit because I just review it and I go, no, just no. That can never see the light of day. So if I don't feel proud of a video, I just don't release it. It really is that simple. So other than that, I have been trying to get back into exercising more regularly. And I think for people who are like me, your typical and sort of classic overthinkers, I think getting ourselves tired with exercise is probably the most constructive thing that we can do, because once you kind of get into it, biking in my case, it really does lower that that voice in your head that's just like oh my goodness. Good thing this isn't a serious channel. But it has been good for me in that way, where I can just be like, you know what, I'm getting into a certain mode, a certain mindset. It's time to get out there and bike. So I've been pretty regular with that these days. Typically, I like to exercise like 4 to 5 times a week. I think that's kind of a good number for me to just get in the right mindset like I was talking about, but also do something about this gut right here. Alright, it's not that bad, and I know it's not that bad, but I don't think you need to like wait until you're like super overweight to do something about it, because feeling for me. Like, physically, I know I've like lost a step or two, and I don't quite feel like I used to. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, let's get it back under control, and let's try to really sort of rein it in. So I would recommend that for you guys, not necessarily biking, but even just walking, or I think I'm sort of in the camp that any physical exercise is better than none, and depending on how much time and effort you want to put into it. But the baseline, I would say, is probably at least working out like a couple times a week. So, other than trying to find photo jobs and exercising, I've been putting a lot of effort into, I guess we're not done with the photo stuff then. That sounded like I wrapped it up, but I have been sending out a lot of emails to like music artists and music management companies, just trying to establish myself in concert photography. I think I'm kind of to a point now where I have some pretty decent photos in my portfolio, and I really just need someone to give me that opportunity to kind of prove myself. So I've like kind of gotten into some opportunities. I've been hearing back from a couple people. Like, I have sent like dozens of messages, and a lot of them just don't get back to you for whatever reason. But I mean, that's just how it goes, kind of in this space. I think anyone who's looking to do something like this, you just have to do it in volume, and the chances of it happening, like someone saying yes, are so small. You just have to increase your chances any way you can, and it really just comes out from sending a lot of messages. So some people, I should say a lot of people, just have not gotten back. Some people do seem kind of interested, and they're like, we'll keep you in mind. And I'm like, please do. Like, even though I don't know if it will happen, but certainly if you don't put yourself out there, at least it won't. And I've gotten a couple messages back from bands that are like, we could have an opportunity for you, like, stay tuned. Like, I need to see if we can get you a photo pass. And I've had one definite yes, but that is coming in October. And I'm not actually going to say which band it is, but they are pretty big, and I was very surprised that they responded to me. So they are actually based out of New York City and playing kind of a gig with one of their friends in October, and they're like, yeah, like, we can get you on the photo list. And I do like some of their songs quite a bit, so I was like, yes. And there is something to that where, like, I'm sure you guys who aren't into photography do like realize this, like, unintentionally, but when you see kind of like big names in someone's portfolio, it makes you sort of think of them in a new way, where it's almost like it gives them like this credibility. And when you're somebody like me who is looking to start off in something that they don't necessarily have a lot of experience in and don't have the connections yet, it's like that is worth, well, I can't even compare what it's worth to, because that's how valuable it is. Like, it gives you that cachet, basically. So I'm very, very excited for that. I did also book another concert coming up next week. So this was with an entertainment company, and they kind of have their own process, but basically the way that it works is you shoot kind of a smaller show for them easier for me though. They did send like this list, and it has all literally I'm describing a shot list. Oh, they made a list of shots, and I'm sure one of you was like, do you mean a shot list? Yes. Yes, I do. So that makes things a little bit easier to sort of know exactly what they're looking for. So it'll be good to fill that out, and then kind of as the event is unfolding, just be there and open to other kind of, I would say, unique compositions, because I always like doing something a little bit different, and especially when it comes to concerts, like zooming in, getting details. I think that's so important. Sorry guys, sometimes the cars outside are so loud, but that guy needs a new muffler. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, so the details and everything, I don't know, just something about that really draws me in. There's a photographer on Instagram that I really like. His name is Joshua Jackson, and it's Josh Jack on Instagram, and he has these really beautiful sort of, I guess you would call them vignettes. He primarily specializes in street photography, but just something about his work really calls to me, and it's like very detail oriented, and the weird part to me is in a lot of his images you don't see people's faces, but the way that he conveys the feeling and the mood of the image, you can like basically picture exactly how they would look, which is wild. And I think the most successful photographers and photos are the ones that present a subject to you, and you as the viewer are taking it in, and it really makes you think and consider things that you wouldn't normally do. Like if you go to a museum, for example, and you find yourself like looking at a particular painting and, you know, wondering about the scene, wondering about what's going on, and just bringing in all these external things that perhaps maybe even the artist wasn't considering, but just when you're able to add a layer onto it, I think that is sort of the best form of visual art. And hopefully I can be at that level someday. You know, I do think I still want to make a video about some of the best images I've taken recently. I have, that was a little bit loud, sorry guys. I have been editing a ton recently. So some of you guys know that I like to shoot film still because I am actually 75 years old. I don't know if you guys know that. But it just takes a very long time to, for the whole process to happen. Basically, I shoot the film, I send it out to be developed, it comes back, and then I use my film scanner and kind of have to scan each frame and convert all the images with the software that I use called Negative Lab Pro, which I do quite like, but still the process is pretty inundating, and I will say I am very pleased though with some of the images that have come back. So guys, I think that's where we're going to end this. I actually feel like going into town and getting some ice cream. But otherwise, let me know what videos you want to see. Let me know if you guys would be interested to see some more photo-related videos. I think you guys know that I like that stuff. Considering I talked about it like... I'm trying to calculate how much time in this video I spent on it, but you know what, it doesn't really matter. I spent a pretty good portion